Hi, it's Emerald, and today I'm joined by the lovely Helena Starr and ALISHA to have a chat with me about International Women's Day and being a woman in music. Hi Helena, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you. ALISHA, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, thanks for joining me today on my sofa.
Pleasure.
At my fantastic house that I live in.
Beautiful sofa.
That I wish I lived in. Let's take it back to the very beginning of both of your careers. I want to ask you when the moment was when you decided or knew that you wanted to be a DJ. ALISHA, why don't you start?
I think for me, it was more just going to clubs when I was 18 years old, you know. But just that feeling, I think, dancing, I thought, yeah, that's pretty cool. I think I'd like to do that. So I think it was the first moment I went to clubs for me personally. So yeah, I just knew from then it was something I wanted to do.
Nice. And what about you, Helena?
The moment I knew I wanted to be a DJ, I guess, well, I've been doing radio since I was 16 and it always been revolved around electronic music. And there came a time when I was like, cool, let me learn how to actually mix the tracks together because my radio show was sounding a little bit janky. And then I think once I just started getting into it, I don't know if I have like a defining moment, but it was just kind of like, I guess, building up my own confidence and I'd always wanted to be within like TV or radio from quite a young age. So I don't know. I didn't go to university and for me, that was a big risk. That was me, and actually I have to big up my mum for listening to me and recognising that that wasn't the path for me. I moved to London when I was 18 with the hopes of becoming a DJ and a radio presenter. So that was a huge risk, especially at such a young age, because I didn't really know anyone in London. And I was just like, I had like a draw towards the space and to the industry.
Representation is something that's so important and is something that we're still working on, especially people from the BAME community specifically, but also as women. It's only kind of now that we're seeing these role models and people that we can actually put ourselves in the same position as. At that time, for both of you, was there anyone in particular that you thought, that's a really inspiring person, I want to be in that position? Someone who you really looked up to, or even someone who you were working with at that time who was maybe a mentor for you? Anyone in particular?
Do you know what? I think it's because when I was going to all these different clubs and raving experiences, and you know, I was going to obviously like the Paradises, so like the Jamie Jones stuff for me, and I think it's more because they have like a brand behind them and it's something that I would love to do in the future. So for me, just seeing all these, you know, superstar DJs, as I'd like to call them at the time, like just seeing what they do and they love it. So for me, looking up to them, and I was thinking maybe one day I could get to that position or even close, and I think I'd be happy. So yeah, just, you know, everyone just doing their thing really. For me, there's not like one person. I think just respecting every DJ, every artist that I've ever watched, just seeing them create a vibe on the dance floor, because it certainly had me dancing and smiling away. So for me, yeah, definitely.
We're really only the second generation of professional DJs.
I know, for sure.
To be in the media. Right?
Yeah.
How crazy is
I
that?
know.
We're only the second generation.
Yeah.
The only second ones to do it, really, if you think about it, being in the media and being in the public eye. What about you, Helena? Anyone that you particularly looked up to at that time?
Yeah, I feel like if you were in radio, I'm sure you could probably agree with this, in the past 10 years, seeing Annie Mac from a young age, and looking at a woman who was just doing her thing, being so smooth and so cool on radio. Like when I started listening to her, I think I was 14 or 15, and I was like, oh, cool, I can see myself in that position. Like I got to know her through listening to her in my kitchen, in the car, and I was like, that's something I want to emulate one day and have that kind of personability that she just oozes. And yeah, so from that young age, I was like, wow, that's so cool to see someone doing that and at the top of her game. And now, still at the top of her game, you know?
For sure.
So that was super inspiring for me.
I think she's someone that a lot of young radio radio wannabes have in common as we were back then when we were teenagers, and we really thought, oh, Annie is like the woman. She's the woman, and she still is, like you say, completely. And it's funny what you say about feeling like you know them when they come through those radio airwaves. You get so familiar with a radio DJ and a personality that inspires you. You feel like you know that person.
We're in a time where we are that second wave of DJs, so seeing so many women coming up, I mean, for me, it's just the best feeling. That kind of camaraderie is incredible. So being at a station like Foundation FM, where you walk in and the energy it's like nothing else I've ever experienced, and it's just incredible. Walking in, all the women there are backing each other, and it's not necessarily like, oh, I feel like I have to align with women. Well, I do, but it just comes quite naturally, and the thought of like bringing up people around me is such a wonderful thing.
ALISHA, you've been doing this for about 5 years now, is that right?
Yeah, 5.5 years, I think.
Have there been any unexpected moments in your career so far? Anything you're like, that was mad, or anything that you think is something that you're so proud of?
For me, personally, it was leaving my job, I think, because at the start, I genuinely didn't think, when I was pretending to mix in my bedroom to thousands of people, I thought, this is never going to happen. And, you know, I think it's everyone's, you know, when they're in their dream job, if they could do that full time and do something that they love. So I only left my job, July 2019, before the pandemic.
Oh, yeah. So
Yeah,
how
but
did you find that shift? Because obviously you've left a stable finance, right?
Yeah.
So you've left a position of financial stability.
Yeah.
And then obviously COVID was waiting around the corner for you.
Yeah.
So how did you navigate that?
Do you know what? It was still, to this day, the best decision I've ever made, because, you know, as I've got a very good team around me, and, you know, I did it properly with leaving my job, you know, and I made sure I was, you know, mentally just there. You know, when you're ready to leave, I was like, I don't want to leave too soon. But yeah, so I had the back end of 2019, and I was very, very busy, and then obviously this hit. But, you know, it's just one of them. You've got to take it as a blessing in disguise, because I wouldn't have done some of the things this, you know, lockdown period that I probably wouldn't have done if we didn't have it. So it's just adjusting, isn't it? There's no point being negative about it. We just need to adjust and overcome it.
What does success look like to both of you? Because success is measured differently by different people, and it looks different to different people as well. But what does success look like to the two of you? Are there any milestones you've set that you might have already smashed? Or are there any particular milestones in mind that you're like, until I've done that, I don't feel like I've had any success?
I feel like it changes all the time, you know? Like, my idea of success changes. Like, I feel like for anyone, it's just to kind of be happy and just in a position where you're not having to like scrimp and save all the time, you know? Yeah. That's kind of, I just want to be comfortable, and I feel like, I mean, I feel so lucky to be in the industry that we are in, because I feel like the success all the time just from being asked to play at venues or having people come on my radio shows. I think that's probably actually a big thing for me, is having some of my favourite artists in the whole world come and chat with me on my show and hearing what they have to say. Yeah.
It's nice when somebody says yes to you, isn't it? You're like, sweet, do you listen to my show?
Come on, cool.
Am I cool? No. ALISHA, what about you?
I think I can genuinely, agree, because, as you said, we're lucky enough to kind of wake up every day and do something that we love, you know? Like just, you know, making music, radio show, and just playing gigs to people and making other people happy. So I think it genuinely, success is to be happy within your career, within your life. And I think that's so important, because what's the point in doing a career that you don't love and you're not happy in, you know?
So looking beyond where we are now, looking into the future, what can we do to make the industry better for the women who are to come after us? How can we give them some valuable advice? What valuable advice can we give them if they're just starting to break through or just starting out at the very beginning right now? Obviously, life has been turned upside down on its head, and the music industry has suffered probably the most out of every industry. So what advice would you like to give to a young woman who might be watching this right now, who's considering starting off in this period?
I mean, I feel like if you're wanting to get involved in this industry, it's because you have a deep love for music. So I think always keep that in mind, you know? Like you said, there can be times like now where it feels like you're not going to be able to perform or get through or get into the industry, but actually if you keep the goal and the roots of it in mind, I do think that helps so much. If ever I'm feeling like rubbish or low, I'm just like, why am I doing this? Actually, like reminding myself what this is for. So I think that's definitely something to keep in mind. Yeah.
For me, I think some people think there's a rush with this industry. It's it's a marathon, I'd like to call it. So yeah, just stay patient, just keep working, keep grafting. And there is genuinely no rush at all. And just don't dwell on, you know, some people get no's, even the biggest, you know, artists in the world get no's from labels, from, you know, gigs or whatever. Just don't dwell on it. Just be positive, move forward. And it just, I think for me, and probably for you both as well, it just makes you work harder if you get a no. And then it makes you bounce back even harder. So I think, don't rush. And don't dwell.
I've got another one too.
Go on.
Don't focus on what other people are doing, because what other people are doing and look amazing, but like you said, you're on your own path, so you're gonna get there. And if you're watching what other people are doing, you're focusing too much on what they're doing instead of focusing on what you can be doing for your own journey. So
It definitely slows you down, doesn't it? If you watch other people.
I've done it, like,
I've 100% done it. Yeah.
I do it every day. I do it every day.
what's happening? What was
Every day. Someone once said to me, comparison kills creativity.
Amen.
If you want a fun phrase to remember, a nice mantra, comparison kills creativity. So the more you compare yourself, the less you're going to create yourself. I want to talk about this campaign that you fronted recently as well with Jaguar. And you spoke about how the MOBO Awards needs electronic music categories. I did have an electronic music category, one, if I'm correct. I think there's one category, Goldie won it, and now it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, so it did in like it was in 1996, I think, that Goldie won the award. So there was an idea that, okay, we understand and we recognise that the origins of house and techno are black. I mean, that's what MOBO is, music of black origin. And I feel like in the past 20 years or so, we've seen a massive decline in the understanding and the knowledge of that. And I think why it's so important is just that it's facts. And I feel like having a space to really celebrate that is nothing but good, you know. There are so many incredible black artists that deserve their props, you know. And I think the MOBOs is a great place to showcase that, along with other award ceremonies. So it was like we should have this. We want to celebrate this.
We had this conversation, didn't we, in the DMs, because all the categories and all the nominations came out, and it just felt a little bit like we're all left out.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like there's any belonging. If you're black and you work in electronic music, there's not really. I mean, there are some awards. There are some award shows which are amazing, and big up that representation. So thank you for everybody who does that work. But in something so huge and prolific as MOBOs, music of black origin, it doesn't feel right.
It doesn't feel right, and it's like, actually, we just need that recognition. Like we could list off so many people, so it's not like there's lack of. So I think I'm really intrigued to see what happens next year, but I just really think it's time, you know. It's time. I think if the last year has shown us anything, that the whole industry needs a bit of a shake up, you know. And I think having open dialogue and conversations like we are having now, being able to write pieces like that and put them onto mix mags, like front cover, you know, like they're quite big changes. I don't think we've seen that much like dialogue in the past like 10, 15 years that have been so widely listened to, you know. So I think it is about keeping conversation going, starting grassroots like organisations, and also supporting them, you know. I think this is it's a worldwide conversation on many different aspects, not just within dance music. But I'm excited to be of that generation and of those people who are there pushing for it and starting for it. Techno is black, guys. That's it.
I'm going to put you on the spot right now.
Go on.
If you could work with any producer, should we say dead or alive? No, I think we should say alive. If you could work with any producer in the world, going forward, so alive, who would it be? And why?
Do you know what? There's a couple. For me, a woman in the industry would be, I think, just Peggy Goo for me. Just because I think she's just so fun. With her, like in the studio, I think I'd just make something out of my comfort zone. So I think with her direction and my direction, it would just be something that I've never made, you know, before. And it's always good to explore different sounds, stuff like that. And then just for a bit of fun and energy, I think Martinez Brothers for me, because they're just always loud. They're just sick guys, aren't they? So I think I just have so much fun and just, we'll just bounce off each other. So
wicked. Finally, what is your biggest career ambition? What is the pinnacle for you? If you dream big, tell me at the end of the rainbow, what do you want to be there? If it's like a pinch me moment, a pinch yourself moment, what is the pinnacle for both of you?
this house.
I think again with like success and stuff, it changes so much. But one thing that I just know, and I can see it. I want to own my own club one day. That is an inclusive, fun space that also has like a little side restaurant in there as well. But
Doing up chefs.
Yeah.
And then go to the club.
Like set times in the
exactly. On the menu.
Yes.
That's a good idea, you know.
It's hard. It's funny when you say that. It's like, what's your like biggest ambition and dream? Like you said, I'm kind of like I'm in it at the moment. It's happening. That's why it does change, and that's why I'm like own a club because why not?
Yes, please.
Own all of them.
Yeah, man, it's true. We should count our lucky stars. We should just also pat ourselves on the back for all the hard work we've done. It's not just luck. It's not just luck. But until I have a house like this, then I'm not happy. Well, lastly, happy International Women's Day.
Happy International Women's Day.
Isn't it great to be a woman?
Bloody is.
It's fantastic. And thank you so much for chatting to me today. I hope you both have a lovely day, and I hope everyone watching can take something from this. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.